It was fair. I mean, Taker did his usual good work with selling and,
Taker
putting good
looked like
work.
he got frustrated.
I could see a little bit of that my what I've seen too. There's a little frustration in what I've seen as well. I just felt like, Luther was okay. His character had a little more than his in-ring ability, I believe, but he did his best. I thought his best work, honestly, during his run was when he was the assistant. I guess you want to call me assistant, but Kurt Angle. I thought he did pretty good with that. That was his best work, I believe. Other than that, he had a fair run for his time. But I thought at this time of point, this time of what was going on, the booking for especially with a lot of ideas that were going on, with Vince and Bruce Pritchard was around doing what he was doing, and they're trying to figure out ideas who they could have face Undertaker, bigger guys, and who is still fresh. Who is fresh. Who could they put him in there that he hasn't done work with before? That was a large size. It was always a challenge throughout Taker's career to put him into the ring with somebody. Who can we have him face? There's always a challenge. In this time frame, there's a number of opponents he had the last couple of years during this time, during this generation, that they're just trying to throw into whoever they could. You take in Heidenreich, Luther Reigns, there was Mordecai, Matt Morgan. It's just, they're just trying to find these guys that they could have take your work.
Kali,
that was good, Lord have. Yeah, so this is what was going on. It was like, a lot of people were like trying to figure out why they booking Taker with this was because they're trying to find ways to work with him. And he didn't have a title on, right? He didn't have to have a title. He didn't have to, but it's more or less they're just trying to find ways to book fresh talent, good size, and try to find Taker opponents. So I can understand that. I just didn't have all the right ingredients into it.
Yeah, and that was just because Taker was one of the anomalies of having a big guy who was athletic. Maybe who do you make look like a threat at that point? Mm-hmm. The only real threat that Taker really had typically was Kane. That's it.
That was like the most, for size wise, similarities in their their moves.
He was one of the ones that was told that people genuinely believed that could potentially beat Taker.
Yeah, absolutely, and also being brothers in a personal on-screen brothers. The personal relationship on screen obviously brought that out. There's one person that could connect Taker more than anybody else as a wrestler was obviously Kane. So it made that more, always something a little more emotionally involved. Where you can work with that a little more. But other people that obviously was a threat. That could be or a potential threat, But he had great matches with smaller guys too. Obviously, look at Shawn. So.
Well, yeah, and Rey Mysterio and things like that. But WWE always try to put him up against these big guys that it's like, okay, we're gonna make him look like a real threat to Taker, and that's what they kind of eyed. But this was not good, and I'll use an example of the frustration. When Taker at one point during the match chokeslams Luther Reigns, and he walks through the ropes, it does seem like he was very annoyed with whatever Luther did during that chokeslam.
I know, I've seen that part too. So what'd you give it?
A 5.
Thanks for so long. I kind of actually wanted one more with 6 because I saw Taker sound so good. But if I was just going to rate it just upon what was delivered,
don't get me wrong. Oh, don't get me wrong. It would have been a 3 if it wasn't for Taker. For me.
Oh yeah, I was say it was just basing off what he'd done, how he was able to work through it. Somewhat storytelling was going on. I was going to give it a 5.5, but I was like, you know what, his selling really brought me into it, and then the ending was good. So I was like, let's go ahead and give it a 6. But yeah, if Taker was not involved, I don't know how that would have really gone, honestly.
Exactly. It was one of those where it's like, I'm like, I can't give Taker a 3 match. I can't.
But
Um,
Heidenreich was still, at least in WWE, still green on a lot of things. So it was something that he needed time to work on too.
I think you mean Luther Reigns.
Oh, I'm sorry. I meant wow. My bad.
Yeah. But I know what you mean. He was still a green guy. It was just one of those where I get you. Sometimes wrestlers just need times on pay-per-view for experience and whatnot. It was just if
Yeah.
if we're gonna have a match like this, it should be one of the first matches. And I would actually probably, if I would switch it around, I'd probably switch it between. Well, not, I mean that's switching a bad match for a bad match. Maybe leave it the same. I was gonna say put it in the place right after the cruiserweight match, but I'm like, well, and then you got Booker T and Heidenreich, which was not much better. Either way, the next one was the final match in a tournament. I forgot what to call it. What do you say?
He said final match. I'm like, wait a minute. He said final match tournament. So I was like,
Yeah. The tournament for the number one contender for WWE Championship at WrestleMania 21. John Cena.
We got a youngin here. Get the young
this
John
is the
Cena.
when he did his pose. I'm like, oh yeah, basic thugonomics, John Cena.
So that is his old music too.
Yeah. Well, I just mean when I was watching him come out, I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot that was his old hand gesture.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the old move it's not the attitude adjustment, it's the FU.
Yep, and he did it differently too. I remember back in the day he did it a little differently too. Like, it was nice to see. It was odd because I like the secondary way he done it. Just kind of throw him around. But he did a little differently back in the day. That was a great match, honestly. Great storytelling. Great. Cena and Angle always were able to tell great stories and tell a good match, tell a good story. So I've always been enthused by watching their matches.
Cena should have been Kurt Angle's last match.
Oh, by far.
Yeah.
I think everybody in the wrestling world would agree with that. That was a big fuss in around that time period too. I mean, it's like you ever thought, okay, this is Angle's last match, so let's bring in Cena, Braun, and
Baron Corbin.
Yeah,
well, yeah. What I was gonna say is, in this match, Angle kind of carried it because it's Cena's, young. And I think with if they're going to do it over and do the last match, at least Cena could actually carry Angle because of how much better Cena has gotten in the ring.
Yeah,
and it could have been a really good match. I honestly, again, if they were to do it over and John Cena beat Kurt Angle's last match, I would like to see John Cena break out an Angle Slam.
That'd be interesting. That would be interesting to see. Yeah, I mean, obviously, he can do it. It would, we can do the what ifs and the.
Yeah, I'm sorry. It's just this match was this.
No. You're fine. We can do the what ifs and then the hindsight and so forth. But yeah, I would. It should have been Cena. Cena and Angle's last match by far, no question about it. But Vince thought, well, let's go to the future. Well, he didn't do anything really whole lot. Really hasn't really done anything with Corbin to the extent. I mean, you just basically you gave him the last match of a huge Legends match. I mean, a career. Should have gave it to Cena. You gave it to Baron Corbin. I mean, other than making him King Corbin, but I mean, it just. I don't know. It just hasn't. The math hasn't added up on the.
And Vince's logic is not one that he's had in the past. I mean, okay, you're gonna make the argument look to the future. What exactly future was Shawn Michaels going to get from retiring Ric Flair? Mm-hmm. Honestly, you could tell with how they were handling Taker towards the end. Originally, it looked like Triple H was going to retire Taker.
Yeah, honestly, I think the biggest reason why Shawn got that Ric Flair's last WWE match because they were considered two of the all-time greatest. They were one and two.
I get you.
I think it's where the mindset is. I can understand that to that extent, but should have gone to a younger talent. I don't mean someone that's just barely up and coming. Talking about solid talent. Probably should have gone. Even if you were to turn tables in that match from WrestleMania 24, let's just say hypothetically that Orton wasn't in the storyline that he was in, or even champion at the time, I would have put Orton in there because he's known as a legendary killer, and just because that's who he is. But honestly,
Another one I could see, if you want to stick with new and like up and coming talent, I don't remember what story he was in, but then another one that would make more sense than Baron Corbin would be Seth Rollins.
Oh, it'd been great. Absolutely. I mean, I think that would have been a very big. You can, as a heel, you're also going down your accolades. Oh hell, I retired Ric Flair.
Well, Kurt Angle in this instance.
Going back in time, I guess I should use Kurt Angle. Sorry, my bad. I was looking at both legends. I was looking at both legends while I was saying that, but you retired. Right. That's what I'm sorry. My bad, y'all. It's been a long day. But I was looking at both sides of that match. But I just concentrated on Kurt Angle. Just stick with that. You can go down that line, and so they haven't even done that with Baron Corbin.
Exactly.
He did. He said that for a couple months, and that was it. So
and hypothetically, with Rollins, with this character that he is currently, the Messiah character, it would have been even better for him to retire Kurt Angle.
Oh yeah, by far. But they didn't need to see that. They nothing. So it's it is what it is.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. That's what we can do about it now. What did you rate it? Because I know what I rated it.
7.5. I
actually did 8. I was impressed. I was really impressed.
Yeah, it was. There was stuff teeter-totting on between 7.5 and 8. And I was like, maybe 7.7. I just want to give it 7.5, but hell of a match by far. Definitely is giving props. And Cena won to go to WrestleMania.
Yep. And I believe this is when he wins the belt and gives it the spinner deal.
Yeah, that's where he beat JBL at WrestleMania 21 and gave a little spin on it. So, yep. C-Nation.
JBL. So JBL's in the next match against the Big Show. This is actually where I think Booker T should have been. JBL versus Booker T. But we got JBL versus Big Show in a steel cage match where JBL literally can't go get any out. There's no way out for him.
Yep.
There's pretty good storytelling in this match, like the bolt cutter thing and whatnot that happened with JBL, and JBL looking like I don't know how I'm going to possibly beat this guy. But this was during the rough years of Big Show. This is when he had a lot of issues with his weight and had a limited movement. I shouldn't say limited movement because he definitely moved around. But you know what I mean. He had difficulty moving around as he would be able to later on.
Talked about and these few years in this time frame, at least in the time frame of this, he's talked about how heavy he was, a little bit out of shape. He's like, man, I got to eat some more salads. Or I got to eat salad now. I was like, man, I don't even see lettuce. I don't even see lettuce anymore. All he was eating bad food, so he knew he was out of shape. He still moved around really well for what his size was, but he knew.
But not to the extent he would be able to years later.
Oh no! I was talking for his size then, but he knew he was in. He knew he had to go on a diet, start taking care of better himself, and obviously, did the recording just shut off?
Nope.
I heard a thing. Okay. Anyways, he got better in shape in time, and it was a really good match. Honestly, it was a really good match. That barbed wire would not forgive him. That never is.
This is one of those where the barbed wire makes sense.
Oh yeah.
And I would like them to kind of bring back some of the instances here where it's not really, you're not really trying to escape the cage. You're trying to beat the living hell out of them.
Yeah, absolutely. I didn't watch the pay-per-view live.
I didn't either. I don't remember it.
I I mean, this during this time frame for a very quick minute, I kind of got out of wrestling for just a quick minute. I'm talking about just maybe a month. That's fair enough.